afternoon to you and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with PHIMU and Eric Chilton.
Yes, the gang's all here.
Woo.
It's nice to see everyone back together. Well, this show is built to connect you with the community and with us here. So part of how we do that is we stream this show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So be sure to use the hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected and join the conversation.
Well, North Carolina will not move past phase 3 at the end of this week. Governor Roy Cooper says our coronavirus metrics are trending upward, and that limits our ability to move forward.
The state will now stay in phase 3 for another 3 weeks. So let's take a look at some of the numbers. There are more than 1,800 new daily reported coronavirus cases, and just over 1,200 people are in the hospital. The state is dealing with more than 250,000 total cases, and more than 4,000 people have lost their lives fighting the virus. The State Department of Health sent letters to 36 counties across the state. The counties receiving the letter have had 300 or more new coronavirus cases in the last 14 days and were marked as a concern by the White House task force. Or the county has a rate of cases higher than 50 cases per 10,000 people. In the Triad, Alamance, Davidson, Guilford, and Rockingham counties all received this letter. Dr. Mandy Cohen says it's been a trying year for all of us, but stopping the spread goes back to the basics: wear, wait, and wash.
But look, we're doing everything we can to slow the spread of this virus. The simple fact is we can't do it on our own. Ignoring the virus does not make it go away, just the opposite.
The State Department of Health is also expanding data on the coronavirus dashboard. Applications are available still for HOPE program. That's the Housing and Utilities Assistance Program. You can apply for that by calling 211 or visiting nc211.org/hope. A coronavirus cluster at Elon University is linked to social gatherings. That's according to a letter posted on the university's website. There are 12 positive cases identified as of Monday. 3 clusters were found in all at PHIMU Sorority, Carolina Hall, and BARNEY Hall. The university is now moving into a level 2 alert. The campus has reported those clusters to the Alamance County Health Department.
Numbers today, not bad, but we do see them kind of inching up a little bit, don't we? It's getting a little warm again. We're at 83 in Charlotte today. That's out of the normal, that's for sure. 80 in Raleigh, Fayetteville at 81. We're pretty steamy here with a 79-degree temperature at the airport in Greensboro. Tonight and tomorrow, we drop down to about 59. Could see some patchy fog. We had that this morning. That could happen again. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, again in the upper 70s at 77 degrees. Satellite and radar pretty clear right now. When you zoom out, you can see there's another frontal boundary to our north. That one slowly will start making its way closer to us. But on the east side of that, our winds continue out of a southerly direction and we stay warm for the next several days. We'll show you our 7-day forecast in just a minute. It does get a little bit warm at times, and rain chances not really in the short term, but where we may see the rain may not make you happy for the weekend. But we'll talk about that coming up.
Turning to the election cycle, President Trump will be in Gastonia today campaigning at the Gastonia Municipal Airport. Now, this is the 3rd time the Make America Great campaign has made its way to North Carolina this week. On Monday, Donald Trump Jr. stopped in Arden and Kernersville, and yesterday, Ivanka Trump stopped in Raleigh. Gates for President Trump's campaign stop just opened. His event starts at 7. And Senator Kamala Harris is also campaigning in the Tar Heel state. She was in Asheville earlier today. She spoke at an outdoor early vote launch event at UNC Asheville. There, she encouraged those to vote who haven't done so just yet. Attendees were masked and socially distant, and she heads to Charlotte next. That event starts at 6:45. Former President Barack Obama is returning to the campaign trail for his first in-person event for Democratic nominee Joe Biden. Obama is speaking to a smaller crowd at a drive-in rally in Philadelphia at 5:45. Supporters will listen over the radio inside their cars. Pennsylvania is a battleground state in this year's election. Obama is expected to make several appearances in the final days before the election. Meantime, Democratic nominee Joe Biden is actively not campaigning. He's taking time to prepare and focus for tomorrow night's last presidential debate in Nashville. The debate will be moderated by NBC News' White House correspondent Kristen Welker. 6 topics to be discussed include fighting coronavirus, American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and leadership. You can watch that debate right here on WFMY News 2.
And let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup. Negotiations on a huge COVID-19 relief bill have taken a modest step forward, but time is running out. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is pressing the White House not to move ahead right now. McConnell told fellow Republicans on Tuesday that he has warned the White House not to divide Republicans by sealing a lopsided $2 trillion relief deal with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi before the election. However, Senate Republicans are pushing ahead on a procedural vote on a virus proposal with the cost of about $500 billion. It does not include the $1,200 stimulus payments. Senate Democrats are expected to vote no. The family of late Fort Hood soldier Vanessa Guillen was briefed by the Army on Tuesday. The Army's investigation found her death was in the line of duty. That means her family is entitled to a variety of Army benefits to help with expenses like a funeral, final pay, and allowances. Guillen was killed on Fort Hood by a fellow soldier in April, according to the Army Criminal Investigation Division. The Justice Department is suing Google for antitrust violations. The lawsuit accuses the software giant of abusing its dominance in online search and advertising to stifle competition and harm consumers. The case against Google is similar to the 1998 case that the government brought against the Goliath of the time, that was Microsoft. The Google case today revolves around the company bundling products around its dominant position in search, much like the 1998 case against Microsoft revolved around its bundling of other products around Windows. And Seafood Destiny is opening a second restaurant in downtown Greensboro. It will be located in what used to be the Works restaurant. The restaurant also has a mobile food truck and will continue to operate out of cities across the Triad. WFMY News 2's I'm Denise McMiller will have more on the restaurant's expansion and their passion for the community coming up at 6. The 4 to 5 is heading to break, but we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Join our conversation there.
Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 4 to 5. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check. Sweet.
While other school districts are working on re-entry plans, Mount Airy City Schools has offered in-person learning to all grades since day one, August 17th. Now, almost midway through the school year, they have had no COVID-19 clusters or outbreaks. They let us inside one of their schools to get a look at what the superintendent says is the safest place for kids to be. It's picture day at BH Tharrington Primary School.
All right, can we take that mask off?
But this traditional snapshot captures an untraditional school year.
Oh, look at that. So handsome.
Each morning as students come to the front door, either off the bus or out of their cars.
Principal Emily Niston walked me through the daily procedures of checking temperatures and screening students.
Have they been exposed to COVID? Do they have any of the symptoms? So that's kind of their ticket in the front door.
All 4 of the schools in the Mount Airy City District have had students in buildings since August.
Well, we're excited to say that we have been back 10 weeks, 10 full weeks.
And how many cases of COVID-19 has the school system had?
So in that 10 weeks, we've had less than 5 that actually had someone in our building that would have contracted COVID at some point during those 10 weeks.
In a school district with 1,700 kids and 350 learning remotely, that's a percent positive rate for in-person learning of 0.4%.
And even if you had a higher percentage, you're still not even up to 1% of your entire population. And all of our cases have been our students since school started. No staff have been infected.
There are much larger school districts in our state with tens of thousands of kids versus 1,700 here. Does that play into it, do you think?
It's all about your percentage. What is the percentage of the spread in your community? What is the percentage in your school? What is the percentage in your district? So it's the same. We just have a smaller school district with less staff. So we're just a microcosm of an urban district.
Superintendent Dr. Kim Morrison says school is the safest place for kids to be, and having them there will help lower the number of COVID-19 cases overall, especially with new health and safety precautions in place like masks at all times, spreading out kids in classrooms and hallways, and more cleaning.
My personal philosophy is if you have all of your children back in school and you can get your adults back to work in safe, COVID-free environments, then that's 7.5 to 8 hours a day that they are occupied in a great way that is safe.
And there are remote learning options for parents and teachers who are not comfortable coming back into school buildings. Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 6, I'll show you my tour of a school that's had no cases of COVID-19 and the plan in place if that should change.
All right, so what do you get when you combine the Old West with modern technology? Sounds strange, doesn't it? Well, it is called Saloon Studios Live, and it's a one-stop shop for musicians in this region and bands who are looking to record not only their audio, but their video as well, and even live streaming. I spoke with owner Mike Jones and production manager John Littlewood about the experience. Hey, John and Mike, thanks for taking time to be with us today. That I can tell by the pictures you sent us and what I'm seeing behind you. That is a beautiful place. Mike, you started this whole venture. Where did the idea come from?
Well, my dad and we used to watch Westerns all the time, and I just love Westerns. So I decided to build myself an Old West town. I was looking out west, but I really like North Carolina, so I decided to stay here. The music part came in. I've got a couple of friends in the music business, and they just kept pushing me to go a little more. The next thing I know, I've got some big name bands coming in here, and it's been great. We've had a ball.
John, talk about what people can expect from a production standpoint. What you guys offer in there is pretty incredible.
Well, actually, we have a state-of-the-art sound and video production facility here. We have a little studio upstairs with a complete recording and live streaming capability, audio and video recording and streaming. The sound stage is fantastic. All the performers here simply love it. The acoustics in this room are incredible. I can't wait for you to see it in person, Eric. Everything in the room here is designed with acoustics in mind. It's a fabulous room to play music in.
So, Mike, what do you want this to end up being for folks that want to come visit? What's your hope for the future of the studios?
I'd like to continue it the way it is. We keep a small venue here, 100 people inside. We also have an outdoor stage that we can have 300 people at. And we just like to keep it small, keep big names to come in, and also we like the locals as well to come and play.
Guys, it sounds like it's such a cool look and a cool idea. I'm glad you guys have it up there. We all can't wait to visit from the Triad. Thanks for taking time today.
It is really cool, I have to say, that just the old West Town is one thing, just to walk down that street and kind of see what that looks like. But then this facility is really high tech, right in the middle of something that dates back to probably early 1800s with that old West backdrop. So check it out if you can. I've linked you to their website on our website. Just look for this story on WFMYnews2.com. The 4 to 5 continues in just a minute. Stay there.
All right, I am talking about kids. Kids are getting nervous because COVID cases are increasing in their schools, how parents can help them.
Going back to classrooms during the pandemic hasn't all been smooth sailing, as COVID cases have been identified in some classes and schools. With this increase, some students are worried about their safety, and that's why Blanca Cobb is here today. Blanca, we want to jump right in because not all kids are going to want to talk to their parents about their concerns. So what are some signs to look out for, especially in younger students, that may show that they're worried?
That's a really great question, Maddie. And as you said, some kids are just not comfortable talking, but parents can pick up a lot of hints when their kids, let's say you drive by the school and their kids don't even want to talk about the school, or they're looking away, or let's say in the morning they get really hesitant to get dressed or get ready. They're doing more of this dilly-dally type of thing, or they're hesitant to get into the car. Those are the types of things that let you know something isn't quite right. Also, perhaps maybe they're going to start grabbing onto their lovey, whatever that safety security object is for them, that they want to take that to school. Look, those symptoms or those signs in and of itself doesn't necessarily mean that they have the hesitation for school, but it's the behavior change. So if your child is not doing those types of behaviors and all of a sudden they are, as a parent, this is where you have to become more of a detective and figure out what are those reasons behind those behavior change, particularly for the children who don't feel comfortable or don't know yet how to talk about concerns or worries.
Right, and if you have a student who is willing to talk, or if you want to talk to your student about those concerns, Blanca, how do you even start that conversation with them?
You know, some parents may not even want to bring it up because they don't want their children to worry. But my opinion is this: your children are going to find out from other kids or other resources anyway, or other sources anyway. So why not get ahead of it and talk to them, find out what they know. It's really important to find out what they're understanding about the COVID increases, what's happening at their school. And the reason this is so critical, because any misinformation that they have, you can correct. And then also, if they're anxious about going to school or safety, this is a good time to really validate their concerns, because when they feel like their emotions are validated and mom or dad really gets them and understands, they're going to be able to get those feelings, that negativity off their chest. And the reason that's so important, because more than likely they're going to be more receptive to listening to what you have to say.
Yeah, good points there, Blanca. Stick around, because at 4:30 we're going to chat about what to do if you as a parent are second guessing your decision to send your child back to school. In the meantime, join our conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5. We'll be back.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 4 to 5.
Hello, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check. Okay. All right, if you're searching for the Great Pumpkin, you won't find it on your local TV stations as you normally would. We've been told that Apple TV has secured the rights to all things Peanuts. So it's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown first aired on CBS back in 1966, and it was moved to ABC in 2001, where it has aired every year since then. Apple TV announced the air dates for all Peanuts holiday specials, and you can find those on our website. So Brian Bennett, a lot of people are saying good grief about this deal. They were looking forward to watching the Peanuts, not so much on TV this year.
Yeah, Tahisha. And they're saying a lot more than just good grief. Let me just tell you that, because I just ran through the comments. I can't read everything. But let's go ahead and kick things off with Doug here, shall we? So he says, 2020, you have gone too far now. Wow, Kevin Hart even got in on the action and says, say what? Libby says, what's the world coming to? This is just sad. While Lisa says, hey guys, watch for free on the Apple TV October 30th through November 1st. Faye's not trying to hear it at all. She says, that's not right. Not everyone has internet. Put it back on TV. While Donna says, oh no, not Charlie Brown. What in the world? And Ed's picture pretty much explains everything.
I am not happy about this. I will tell you that I look forward to these every year. Linus is my boy, and now I got to go to Apple TV.
I love that we were all silent there just waiting for the first person to share their opinions on this. It's all about the money. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's all about the do-re-mi in this situation. It is sad because that's like taking away Christmas. I mean, this is Halloween's movie. This is the only Halloween holiday movie that really is a classic, in my opinion. Oh no.
Hocus Pocus. It's a new classic. That one hasn't gone anywhere. I will have to say that.
But that one's not as kid appropriate as Charlie Brown.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They have
right,
some mature themes in Hocus Pocus. Yeah, it's sad. But I do know that Apple TV was doing a free trial.
Hocus Pocus is on about 25 times a day, too.
That's true. Maybe someone will figure out a way to get Charlie Brown out. It's sad that it's not like no copyright on this at this point. What do they call that, Eric? License free use property.
Public domain, but I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's public domain yet. Well, at least with music, it has to be like 100 years.
Not old enough yet. Not old enough just yet.
Well, I didn't even know that apparently you can be able to still watch it for free for those 3 days. So I appreciate the person who wrote that comment, because if you do have internet access, if you're streaming us right now on Facebook, then you can still watch the show that way as well.
That's good news. All right, you can continue to share your thoughts. The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, not on television this year. We'll be right back. All right, and coming up next at 4:30, you'll want to stick around because we ask you on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page why you're voting this election season. You can chat with us about your decision to vote on any of our live streams on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. You can even text us your answer. Text the number 336-379-5775. We're going to take a look at your responses at 4:30 on your 4 to 5.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together. Let's see.
Thank you, ma'am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey there, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Checky. Before you wrecky.
Yes, mic check. What is my first story I am reading? All right, UK. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Tahisha Moise and Eric Chilton this afternoon.
Yes, this is an interactive show built to connect you with the community, and we love the conversations that we can have on our Facebook page as we stream our show there and on YouTube and Twitter. And if you post on social media, use that hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected.
Well, we are on top of breaking news out of Forsyth County this afternoon, where Winston-Salem Forsyth County school officials have announced pre-K students will not go back to school on Monday, October 26th as planned. The letter says the decision was made based on the county's COVID-19 metrics, and the start date will be pushed back at least 2 weeks. We'll have more on this announcement coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5. In the meantime, let's take a look at your 4 to 5 roundup, and we'll begin in Guilford County, where the county courthouse in Greensboro is closed to the public. We're told it's because a county employee who worked at the sheriff's office tested positive for COVID-19. Courthouse officials say they are waiting for contact tracing to be done, and the courthouse will reopen next Wednesday for business at 8 a.m. District Court first appearances and 50B Court will go on as scheduled. Secured custody cases in juvenile court will happen on Friday and on Monday. Well, Pope Francis is now the first pontiff to endorse same-sex civil unions. The remarks came in the documentary Francisco. In it, the Pope says homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They are children of God. Pope Francis says a civil union law is needed because that way they are legally covered. His comments drew from gay Catholics and demands for clarification from conservatives. Purdue Pharma, the company that makes OxyContin, will plead guilty to 3 federal criminal charges. It's part of a settlement of more than $8 billion. Justice Department officials tell the Associated Press the deal does not release any of the company's executives or owners from criminal liability, and a criminal investigation is ongoing. OxyContin is a powerful prescription painkiller that experts say helped spark the opioid epidemic. 2 more Carolina Panthers players are now on the reserve COVID-19 list. The team added kicker Joey Sly and offensive lineman Trent Score. Now, this does not mean that either player has tested positive for the virus. According to NFL protocol, players may be put on the list for testing positive or being in close contact with an individual who tests positive. The Panthers are scheduled to return to the team facility for practice today after working from home for 2 days.
British biotech company is negotiating with the government for human challenge trials in coronavirus vaccine research. Now, the human challenge is where volunteers get the virus on purpose. Now, volunteers would be given a vaccine first, then a month later, they are infected with the virus. Now, the volunteer isolates and then is monitored to see if they show any symptoms of the virus or if the vaccine protects them. Now, those trials need ethical and safety approval from regulators. But critics say this is an unethical method. Those in favor of the trials say this could trim down the process of testing the vaccine on tens of thousands of people. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this conversation on this topic and bring you into the conversation. So I asked you on my Facebook page, would you sign up to be willingly infected with COVID-19 for a vaccine trial? So let's get into some of the comments of what you had to say. Carrie Gatling says, no, because I'm not a lab rat. And Barry Raleigh says, no way. We had a few comments just come into my Facebook page here in the last few minutes. Alyssa Jimenez says, also, it's a no for me. I'm considered high risk for COVID, but also wouldn't be a fan of being tested on. So kind of the majority of people are saying no, this is not something that they want to be a part of. And I can understand the concern, right? Especially if you are in a high risk group, you may not even be considered for the trial to begin with.
I'd be interested to see if something like this has ever been done in the past with a similar virus. My concern here is experts all say we don't know the long-term effects of COVID-19 just yet, and a few years down the road what this virus can possibly do to your body. So I would be hesitant to do this. I would be willing to be part of a vaccine trial, but to be purposefully infected with the virus to see if a vaccine is effective just seems a little bit different, and I don't think I'd sign up for that one.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I feel too, is that a vaccine trial is one thing, but no one really knows from person to person how you're going to be affected with this. And since we've seen so many fatalities, I would say probably no at this point. But vaccine trial, I would give that a shot if I had already had it.
You know, Maddie, you were mentioning that you wanted to know if this has ever been done for a virus before. They have done it for malaria, but you have to keep in mind there's an actual treatment for malaria apart from a vaccine. So there's the difference.
Interesting. Thanks for including that, Tahisha. Well, listen to this statistic. More than 2.1 million North Carolinians have voted so far, and we are still 2 weeks away from Election Day. So we wanted to know, why are you voting in this election? Our digital guru, Brian Bennett, is here to talk to us about what you say is driving you to cast your ballot. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you doing, Maddie? It's just different strokes for different folks, Maddie. Not one person pretty much said the same as others. So we're going to kick things off with Rhonda here. She says she's voting because she wants to keep our country and citizens strong and safe. Meanwhile, Jennifer says, for those who cannot speak for themselves, hashtag unborn child, hashtag pro-life. Meanwhile, Cheryl says to bring dignity and logic back to the country and show that we have real intelligent leadership in office, not just puppets. This next commenter says he voted because of guns. And lastly, Mr. Park says, I choose the candidate that works to support Americans' freedom and supports the Constitution. So, yep, 2 weeks out, guys.
I love to vote. It makes me feel very important, like I've done something that matters.
Yeah, I was actually thinking tomorrow I'm going to check out some of those early voting locations and see which one I think is going to have the shortest line and make my way there.
Well, you know what, Tahisha, there is a tool on the Guilford County Board of Elections website. You can look at all the one-stop early voting locations and it will tell you the wait times.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
I was not aware that it told you the wait times.
And you can find your location on the map, and it will give you anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes or 30 to 45 minutes for a wait time. So you can try that out.
Okay, I think I will. Thank you for that. News you can use.
And I think the answer to the question, too, is just simply that we vote because we have that privilege, you know? I mean, some places it's not the case, and I think you do that because it is the only way to truly get your voice heard and to make a difference. That's why we do it. And there you go. I'm off my soapbox for a couple of minutes.
I was about to say amen.
Let's talk about our forecast. Shall we jump into that? Because we do have... Yes, that's right. Everybody, get your hands up. We'll testify a little bit here. All right, we got the satellite radar going on, and I'm telling you across our state, except for the extreme southeast corner of the state, we are seeing mostly clear skies. Now, a couple of showers around the Wilmington area, and that stretches all the way up to the Outer Banks. It's just a little bit unsettled there, not a big deal. We're in between two systems as we kind of watch and wait. The warm air is firmly in place. It will stay there for the next several days. On the east side of a cold front, winds usually parallel that front, so that means we'll get a southerly flow, probably southwest wind, coming in over the next couple of days, and that does keep us on the warm side for this time of the year. It's comfortable, though. Feels pretty good. But when you talk about where we should be this time of the year, it is a little bit on the warm side. Tonight, overnight lows around 59 degrees. That's actually fairly comfortable. No arguments there, right? Little morning fog tomorrow. Be careful of that. Low to mid to upper 70s for Thursday, Friday, and we're looking at partly cloudy skies. Beautiful couple of days. Rain chances come in this weekend, but they're not huge. 30% maybe Saturday evening with a high of 76. A little bit cooler though on Sunday with 68 for the high and a 30% chance again. And next week, just kind of varied sky conditions with a slight chance of late day showers on Tuesday, maybe a little bit Wednesday, but low to mid 70s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 68 for the high.
All right, friends, I'm going to need a show of hands here. Have you seen, you still need to register a reminder to vote on Facebook, on your Facebook page? You have, yes, show of hands. We've all seen it. Okay, now show me if you're not registered to vote. No one, none of us are in that camp. We're all registered to vote, and we're all getting this same reminder. Okay, this is annoying, is it not, Tahisha?
Yeah, I can't deal with it. And then I get the things to my mail every day, at least 4 pieces.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of election mail, a lot of election text, but I'm hoping you're going to tell me how to get out of at least one thing.
I am going to tell you how to do that. You know what? It's our fault that we're getting it. I'm just going to tell you that. Eric Chilton, it's your fault.
Always blame him.
Not my fault.
Okay.
Not my fault.
It's actually all of our faults because we have the power to stop the whole registration reminder. Check this out. Open up Facebook, Click on the 3 lines at the bottom right of your screen. Then scroll down past the See Less or See More, whatever happens to be on your screen, and find Town Hall and click it. Hit the Settings tab, it's on the top right, and then at the bottom of this page you'll see Voting Reminders. Swipe the button to turn it off. Okay, with the election in mind, you may have questions that really only the Board of Elections can answer. And just in luck, we have the Board of Elections here tonight at 5:30. Charlie Collicutt from the Guilford County Board of Elections. You can text your question to 336-379-5775. Remember, this number is for a text question only. Do not call the number. Text your questions. We start them at 5:30.
As school districts work through plans to send students back to classrooms, how do you know as a parent if you're making the right choice to send your child back? Body language expert Blanca Cobb explains next.
All right, I am talking about parents who are feeling a little guilty about sending their kids back, how they get control over that.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Now, earlier on the show, Blanca Cobb and I talked about helping kids deal with some concerns they might have about going back to school during coronavirus. But now we want to focus on parents who might be second guessing their decision to let their kids go back to in-person learning in a classroom setting. So Blanca, we'll start out here. What is a common emotional reaction of parents who might second guess themselves in this type of situation?
One way that parents might feel is fear, because obviously parents don't want for anything to happen to their children. And then some parents might also feel guilty because they're thinking about, what have I done? What if my kid does get sick? And because there's so much that isn't known about this virus, because it's asymptomatic, that tends to increase those emotions of uncertainty.
And you and I have talked about this before, but kids often feed off the energies their parents are giving off. So I imagine that parents would want to deal with any anxiety they might have as to not pass it on to their kids. So how can they do that?
That's an excellent point, Maddie. And yes, one is that they just have to be calm. And the reason it's important to be calm, whatever they have to do to relax, and to bring that cognitive load down of those anxiety is because you want to be able to think rationally and logically. Because if you think based on emotions, and what happens is your mind might go a little crazy. But when you're thinking logically, you can do this cognitive self-talk. And what that means is you're actually thinking about how you made the decision anyway. Like, what process did you go through? What information did you have at that time to make that decision? And that will help you keep things in perspective.
And what are some of the things when parents are going through that logical reasoning that they may want to consider to reassure them that they did make the right decision?
Well, ask yourself now as a parent, what has changed now that you know that the cases are being identified in classroom and schools? What has changed? What needs to be changed? What are your concerns? And then what needs to happen in order for you to still feel comfortable to send your kids to school? And then talk to the administration when you're not sure. Get their perspective. What's happening now? Because you don't want to make any assumptions, and you might be surprised at some of the answers the school administration might give you in order for you to still feel comfortable to send your kids.
Yeah, knowledge is power in this situation. Blanca, thank you so much. If you missed any of this conversation or the one we had in the 4 o'clock half hour about reassuring your kids about going back to school, you can find it all again on our website. That's WFMYnews2.com. The 4 to 5 is coming right back.
Hi there, Tasha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you.
Yes, breaking news from Winston-Salem. Forsyth County Schools, the district has officially delayed reentry.
What's up, Georgie? Right back at you. We got to get together for a lunch or something. Too long. Yeah, do. You know, for more than 2 decades, the Triad has always looked forward to The Wizard of Oz, produced by the Community Theater of Greensboro. Well, obviously, this year's a little bit different, isn't it? But they have one of the coolest ways that I've ever seen to make this work. They got really creative. Now, the cast is doing this outside this year. If you were old enough to remember...
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high,
Yeah, this is so cool. This is all done outside, and if you're old enough to remember the Land of Oz, that was up near Tweetsy and Blowing Rock area, then this will definitely bring you back, that's for sure. It is very, very cool.
We have created the Wizard of Oz Trail out here in McLeansville, where you walk through each scene, see Dorothy, see all of her friends, see Lion, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and still enjoy the story, but just have a different look on it.
So the trail starts with Dorothy in Kansas, then it hits some of the major scenes and the songs all along the way. The trail runs a total of about a quarter of a mile, but each scene runs a few minutes, about 2 to 3 minutes, so you get a break there. And to the cast, though, this was much more than just another performance.
For so many months, we've been isolated from friends, from family, from theater. So for us to be able to do something was just very special for the organization and very special for so many of these cast members that haven't seen each other in such a very long time. They were all excited. They were all thrilled just to be able to do something. And as much as we understand we are in trying times right now, we also want to realize that theater gives us the chance to create magic.
Well, the shows are this Saturday and Sunday. You can order your tickets on their website. I've linked you to that through this story. Just go to WFMYnews2.com and look for this story. So I asked you on Facebook, I said, what is your favorite Wizard of Oz character and why? And my Facebook page lit up. Let's start out with Elizabeth. She said Glinda. She always laughed at the Munchkins like they were her favorites there. Barbara says the lion. I had a cat with a face just like the lion, so it always made me smile. Jim Walton, and by the way, this is tongue firmly planted in cheek here. He said, I was especially fond of the flying monkeys, right? They scared every kid to death. Cindy Mabe says, the Scarecrow, because even without a brain, he was smart. Laura Collins said, the Wicked Witch, because she had the most memorable lines. Brian Butler said Dorothy because she made it her mission to get back home to Annie M. and the crew. And Stephanie said the Tin Man because she thought he had the best song. This debate could go on forever because everybody loves this movie. You'll laugh at me because when I was a kid, my mother thought this was hilarious, that after I watched it and I was like 4 or something and I started crying, she said, what's wrong? I said, I'm worried about Toto. I was more worried about Toto than anybody else.
I feel that. I am still caught up on Glinda in the community theater's production here. Her mask, Tahisha, yes, covered in pink crystals. So stylish.
I was like, where do I get that?
I need one.
Where do I get one?
I need that.
Now, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I had a 6th birthday party and it was entirely Wizard of Oz themed, and I dressed up like Dorothy and I had my stuffed animal Toto. I mean, the whole 9 yards. My mom went all out for this. But now I honestly relate a little bit more to the Wicked Witch of the West because they landed a house on her sister and then stole her fancy shoes. I'd be mad too.
Right. I mean, and there's just something about just being a little nefarious, right? I mean, you don't want to do that in your everyday life, but for one day to be able to act it out or dress up as someone just a little bit evil, I'm kind of into it.
Right, and if you've seen the musical or listened to the songs from Wicked, you do kind of feel some sympathy for the Wicked Witch after seeing that, and a little resentment toward, well, they call her Galinda in that, but not the original.
No. Now, the bottom line to all of this is now we know that for Maddie, it's all about the shoes. That's it. That's all you need to know. Now, 79 degrees in Greensboro, 80 in Winston-Salem. It's 82 in High Point, Burlington, 83. We're warm for this time of the year, that's for sure. And everybody kind of buckle up because here we go with some more warm days ahead. Maybe not so much in the 80s, but still some upper 70s here. The low tonight's great, though. 59 degrees. The problem with that is that we cool down and we're a little bit humid, so we could see fog in the morning. We had that this morning if you were out and about early. It'll burn away quickly, but then 74 by midday with the afternoon high of 77. I want you to see the long-range forecast here. 77 tomorrow, 74 Friday. Beautiful days, partly cloudy both days. Saturday, Sunday, we have a rain chance, but it's very slim, a 30% chance. Still warm Saturday at 76. Sunday, a little cooler, 68. Our normal 69 anyway. And then next week, 72, 74. Monday, Tuesday, partly cloudy. Slight rain chance for Tuesday and Wednesday, only at a 30%.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, Governor Roy Cooper announces North Carolina will remain in phase 3 for 3 more weeks. A closer look at why the state made this decision and how several triad counties with higher numbers of coronavirus cases have the attention of the White House task force. That's next at 5.
Hello, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3. Their start date will now be pushed back at least 2 weeks. Amanda Yoakley says her son was signed.
Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
6 Triad counties got the letter. Guilford, Alamance, Randolph, Rockingham, Caswell. Is it Caswell or Coswell?
It's time for my 2 cents. Today is Imagine a Day Without Water. It's part of a national campaign that highlights just how important water is in our everyday lives. And in a country like America, where you don't have to look far to have access to it, it really just puts things into perspective. Could you do it? No water to drink or wash your hands with? No water to shower, flush the toilet, or do laundry? Right now, we are in the middle of a pandemic. You know that. But do you ever think about how worse the pandemic would be if we didn't have clean water? What would happen in hospitals, with firefighters responding to fires, or in restaurants? Makes you grateful for what we have and recognize that we need to make sure our infrastructure is up to par. It's critical. No city should have to go through what happened in Flint, Michigan. And hey, I know it's too late to take part in the challenge today, but I urge you to spend a few moments thinking about why water is important to you and your community. Form your own opinion. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now. Breaking news from Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools.
The school district has officially delayed re-entry for pre-K students. The Board of Education planned to vote on the delay at a special meeting tomorrow, but the district says that meeting is now canceled. Preschool students were the only grade level set to return this coming Monday, October 26th. Their start date will now be pushed back at least 2 weeks. Amanda Yoakley says her son was excited to get back into the classroom, but now she's considering pulling her son out of school.
I was very disappointed. I don't think that they need to just consider the numbers. They need to consider, that kids are depressed. And the longer we keep this going, it'll never end.
The school board will discuss a delay for all phase reentry plans at the Board of Education meeting coming up on Tuesday. Again, tomorrow's meeting has been called off. Guilford County Schools is also debating when students can start in-person learning. Pre-K through 2nd grade students were supposed to start yesterday, but that was put on hold. The district plans to make an announcement on Friday if those kids can return next week. We know you have a lot of questions. School leaders, including Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras with GCS, answered some of those live yesterday. You can watch the 30-minute interview on our website, WFMYnews2.com, or on our YouTube page.
This is a letter sent to several North Carolina counties, including 6 here in the Triad, saying they need to do more to stop the spread of coronavirus. Now, those steps could include issuing civil penalties and fines for those who don't follow the rules, or imposing stricter stay-at-home restrictions.
Governor Roy Cooper says action needs to be taken now as coronavirus numbers are on the rise all across our state.
Our local partners are key allies as we continue to fight COVID-19, and their work is vital. We hope our local communities can work with us to move some of our troubling trends in the right direction.
The Triad counties that received the letter are Alamance, Caswell, Davidson, Guilford, Randolph, and Rockingham. The state says these counties have had 300 or more new cases each in the last 14 days. They've been identified by the White House Task Force as counties of concern. Governor Cooper also decided to keep North Carolina in phase 3 for 3 more weeks. It was set to expire this Friday. The governor says most of the new cases come from family and religious gatherings. The state had updated guidelines for private gatherings as well. Some recommendations include everyone wearing masks at all times, even indoors and outdoors. And if you are sick, stay home.
Among the numbers that have impacted the governor's decision, the number of daily new cases. Today, the state is reporting 1,842 new cases. Dr. Mandy Cohen says the daily cases are trending upward. It can be difficult to see that upward trend when simply looking at this graph, but watch when I add a 2-week trend line. It's clear our numbers are trending upward. To give you an idea, about a month ago at this low point way over here, we were averaging about 1,200 new cases a day. Well, now we're averaging about 2,000 cases a day, an 800 case increase. We're also seeing a continuing upward trend in hospitalizations. The state says 1,219 North Carolinians are in the hospital with the virus. It's again the highest number we've seen since our peak back in late July.
Now, with numbers heading in the wrong direction, DHHS Secretary Mandy Cohen sent a letter to high-risk counties. It asked local officials to help fight against COVID-19. WFMY News 2's Adoria Tumba has more on the letters and what they asked for.
As mentioned a short while ago, 6 counties in the Triad got that letter. They include Guilford, Alamance, Rockingham, Randolph, Caswell, and Davidson County. And state and White House officials say these counties are counties of concern when it comes to the increase in COVID-19 cases. The 36 counties had 300 or more new cases in the last 14 days. 3 of the state's most populous counties, one of which is Guilford County, were automatically on the list. The state wants local leaders to encourage people to practice the 3 W's, which are wash your hands, wear a mask, and wait 6 feet.
The past 2 weeks, we've seen an increase in COVID-19 clusters in social gatherings. Things like informal get-togethers and family gatherings and parties.
Now, Cohen also wants local governments to help enforce compliance with executive orders. The letter says they can consider imposing fines, set tighter restrictions, and take action against businesses who fail to comply. Now, I spoke to local business owners who said the trend is concerning.
Whatever the professionals say we need to do, we need to listen.
Just do the best we can to stay safe.
Now, I reached out to local governments of those 6 counties to find out if they have gotten the letter and what they intend to do. Now, Rockingham County is the only one who has responded so far, and they say their local and elected officials are having discussions about the next strategies to take in order to slow down the spread and increase of new cases of COVID-19.
Adori, thank you. The Guilford County Courthouse in Greensboro will be closed for the next several days because of COVID-19. Officials say a Sheriff's Department employee tested positive for the virus. Contact tracing is underway to get in touch with people who may have been exposed. The courthouse should reopen to the public next Wednesday. The courthouse in High Point remains open.
Elon University is reporting 3 new COVID clusters on its campus. The school is also reporting 12 new cases. Officials say the clusters and those cases are connected to PHIMU sorority, Carolina Hall, and Barney Hall. They also say they involve social gatherings where people were not wearing a mask or socially distancing. The school is working with students impacted to facilitate testing. COVID-19 cases are also trending up for Wake Forest University. The school reported 52 new cases in the last 14 days. You can see in the charts the school posted on their website the sharp increase in cases. There have been 197 total cases since August 17th. All right, from this day on, there are only 12 more days until Election Day, and North Carolinians aren't waiting to vote. So more than 2 million ballots have already been cast. North Carolina is a battleground state, and candidates are wasting no time rallying voters. President Trump will campaign in Gastonia tonight. The rally is set to start at 7 p.m. at the Gastonia Municipal Airport. The Biden-Harris campaign also stopped in North Carolina today. Senator Kamala Harris met with voters in Asheville and Charlotte. And tomorrow night, President Donald Trump and Joe Biden will face off in the final presidential debate. It'll be in Nashville and will come with a new set of rules. Each candidate will get 2 minutes to respond to the questions posed by the moderator. And during those 2 minutes, the only person whose microphone will be on is the candidate who has the floor. Both microphones will turn on again during an open discussion period.
Many voters' minds are already made up. In North Carolina, more than 2.2 million people have voted. So here's the breakdown. More than 1.5 million have voted early, while more than 670,000 have sent in absentee ballots. There are about 7.3 million registered voters in our state. Coming up at 5:30, we're getting your election questions answered with the head of the Guilford County Board of Elections. Just text your questions to the number you see on your screen, 336-379-5775. Remember, this phone number is for texting only, please. Get your voting questions answered in less than 30 minutes from now.
The warm weather continues. It really does have almost a summer-like feel when you step outside today. Not only is it warm, it's also a little on the humid side. Maybe you've noticed this in your backyards also. Good amount of blue sky across the Triad, and this has been the theme of the week. Really beautiful weather has been with us each and every day, just kind of continuing a warming trend here. Most of us hit 80 this afternoon. Many of us are still in that 80-degree range as we see those warm temperatures. This is what I was talking about with the humidity, though. Dew point temperatures are in the low to mid 60s. In the summertime, this will feel actually dry, but in the fall, it does feel a touch sticky to us just because we're not quite as used to it. So not a crisp feel, more of a warm feel, and that's what we have right now. Winds very slightly coming in from an easterly component from the ocean. That's why we're a little on the muggy side. And with humidity, you can expect some more fog. We've had some foggy mornings. Tomorrow will be another one of those with very limited visibility. It'll burn off, as you would expect, by about 9 to 10 o'clock at the latest. Here's your plan for tomorrow. A lot like today, a little fog in the morning, sun for the afternoon, staying warm. I'm expecting us to be right around 77 for your high temperature tomorrow. Coming up, we'll be talking about your next chance for rain. Unfortunately, it does track closer to us over the weekend. We'll pinpoint when and how much we could expect, plus take a look at the tropics, which actually have a brand new major hurricane in the Atlantic.
With many parents worried about COVID-19 and when their kids will go back into the classroom, they may not be thinking about the normal immunization requirements.
A look at which vaccines students need and the deadline to get them. That's next. This is all. Okay, so let's see, this needs to be behind here. So it's going to start with seeing these two.
Yeah? So can you, I need it to, yeah. Okay, so that way, and because I'm going to be like, what we don't need is this guy right here. Accept that. What we don't need is some other sickness that we're all going to get. No. I know. Yep. We've been living with COVID for months. It's deadly. It's destructive to our way of life. Now add in flu season, which can also be deadly and cause disruptions at school and at work. I think we can all agree what we don't need is this right here. Any other kind of health-related complication.
With being in the middle of the COVID pandemic, we want to ensure that students are protected from vaccine preventable diseases. We do not.
All right, we're talking diseases like diphtheria, an infection of the nose and the throat, pertussis, which you probably know better as whooping cough, meningitis, a viral infection that can cause inflammation of brain and spinal cord membranes, and tetanus, a bacterial infection causing painful muscle spasms, even death. All of these are preventable with a vaccine. 7th graders and 12th graders are required to get these vaccines. Normally, they have to get them within 30 days of school starting, but the deadline was moved, and it was moved to October the 30th, which is now a little more than a week away.
But even still, with the students learning remotely, the immunizations are still required. Even though the student is not in the building, the immunization requirement is there to keep the students safe and healthy and protect them from these diseases.
All right, here's an easy way to get those vaccines. The health department's vaccine clinic for 7th and 12th graders is this Saturday, 9 until noon. You can walk up, but appointments are encouraged. The number to call is at the bottom of your screen right now. We're going to keep it up for a little while. 336-641-3245. Now, there are 2 locations, one in Greensboro, that's at the Windsor Rec Center, another one in High Point, that's at the Moorhead Rec Center. You need to bring your child's insurance card and vaccination record as well. Now, check out this story in the Back to School section or the 2 Wants to Know section for more information.
Our weather quite quiet here at home, but in the weather world, one of the busiest hurricane seasons just won't stop. Coming up, I'll tell you about the latest major hurricane, Category 3. That's next. Well, everybody, hope your week is going well. The fall weather continues, but it's on a warmer note today. Temperatures about 10 to 15 degrees above where they usually are this time of year. Wanted to show you quickly what it looks like up at Appalachian State. This is from the football stadium there, and you might have noticed they have some nice colors currently on the trees, but some of the mountains, it's a little bit past prime, past peak right now at least. If you're going up to places like Grandfather Mountain, a lot of those leaves have fallen off the trees, shading that in a past peak color now. Anywhere above 4,000 feet, likely to be a little bit past peak. But Boone, Blowing Rock, those areas looking really sharp right now. Farther close to home, we're starting to get more of that high level of color, especially as you get into the foothills. Here locally, you're seeing a lot of that around town also. I'd still plan on about a week before things are really shining in peak color here in the Triad. Our latest warm weather is likely slowing down that change a little bit, which is nice. We should be able to enjoy it a little bit longer. Today's sky generally blue, but we have had a lot of puffy clouds. That's courtesy of really our warm and slightly muggy air. It's almost tropical by October standards. It's coming in off of the Atlantic Ocean. So that's where we get those puffy clouds. No rain though, not expecting that for a long while. That cold front you saw misses us to the north. We'll stay warm through the rest of the week. Want to show you what happens for the weekend though. Warm air still locked in, and that will stay here through Saturday. This cold front likely sliding by Saturday evening. Motorcycles. If you do have Saturday evening plans, there are chances for at least a couple of showers. Not a ton, but a couple of showers are likely Saturday. Then we could be locked into cloud cover with sprinkles on Sunday. That's your weekend as I see it right now. Checking out on the tropics, this is Bermuda. That is Hurricane Epsilon. Epsilon, remember, we're on the Greek alphabet now because we ran out of names. Winds are at 115 miles per hour. That does make it a Category 3 hurricane, the fourth major hurricane and the 10th hurricane overall of this very busy year, which has had 26 storms. The good news, not coming anywhere close to the United States, and the center of it should pass just to the east of Bermuda. That's good news for them. For tonight, plan on some fog. I expect some fog to develop early tomorrow. Should have low visibility for the early morning hours, clearing out by around 9 or 10. For tomorrow, we're up to 77. It's another warm day, and you say, well, what's the average high this time of year? Well, it's right about 70, so we are above average going into the weekend, and again, that small chance for rain.
Rescue crews found the body of a hiker who disappeared in the North Carolina mountains. 27-year-old Chad Seeger went missing over a week ago near Black Balsam Knob of the Pisgah National Forest. His body was found yesterday afternoon in the Shining Rock Wilderness area of the forest. Officials say it's too early to determine his exact cause of death.
Some Sparta residents have started receiving funds from the state after an earthquake that happened back in August. The magnitude earthquake caused several $1,000s in damage. The mayor said 3 to 4 homes essentially slid off their foundations. In all, about 100 buildings, homes, and churches were damaged.
Pope Francis gives his support to same-sex civil unions. This is a major shift for the Vatican and the Catholic Church. His endorsement comes in a new documentary. He said, quote, homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They are children of God. He has never come out publicly in favor of civil unions as Pope until now. We'll be right back.
Okay.
As we've seen all year, COVID can impact anyone, no matter their age, gender, or health. But some have coronavirus longer than others. And researchers at King's College London are trying to figure out why.
CBS's Ian Lee takes a look at how some patterns are starting to form that can answer that question.
You're speeding it down. Vicky Bourne went from ziplining on vacation and hitting the gym several times a week to dealing with waves of illness after catching the coronavirus in March.
I lost my sense of taste and smell again. It just went completely. I get really wheezy and breathless, and I have to use an inhaler twice a day now.
Vicky is describing what doctors call long COVID. UK researchers believe thousands of people share a similar experience. So they asked coronavirus patients to log their symptoms on an app. Most recovered in under 11 days, but 1 in 7 were sick for more than a month, while 1 in 50 reported being sick for more than 12 weeks. Doctors say people at higher risk for long COVID have more than 5 symptoms in their first week, are over 50, women, and have asthma.
We wanted to have an idea of how much that might affect people, especially as we are going into a second wave now in the pandemic, where more and more people are going to get exposed to the virus.
As cases spike around the globe, doctors are creating a model to predict who is at most risk of long COVID. They hope their research will help prevent and treat the deadly virus. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
The UK government
solo sogno l'orizzonte, mancano le parole. Sì, lo so che non c'è luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, sulle finestre mostrar tutto il mio cuore che è acceso. Chiudi dentro me la luce che ho incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò sulla libera mare che io lo so, non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye.
Quando sei lontana sogno all'orizzonte, manca le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me, tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me. Mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò su navi per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò, con te partirò su navi per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò, con
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make control. Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me. My heroes had the heart to lose the lives I wanna live. And all I remember is thinking I wanna be like them. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. And there's no coincidence I've come. And I can die when I'm done. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe we're crazy.
Don't wish it away. Don't look at it like it's forever. Between you and me, I could honestly say that things can only get better. And while I'm away, dust out the demons inside. And it won't be long before you and me run to the place in our hearts where we hide. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. Time on my hands, the time spent with you, laughing like children, living like lovers, rolling like thunder under the covers. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. Just stare into space, picture my face in your hands. Live for each second without hesitation, and never forget I'm your man. Wait on me, girl. Cry in the night if it helps. But more than ever, I simply love you more than I love life itself.